Hey, I'm Nate. I've also been known as Nate LeBlanc in some milieu, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, what's the deal with my project? Probably wondering. Well, it's pretty straightforward. Invent a new Apple product and showcase it. It's pretty simple, right? Wrong. Little did I know, I'd be spending hundreds of hours in front of my computer screen, digging through documentation, attending YouTube University, and scratching my head to make this idea a reality. I'm not new to this though, not in the slightest. The point is, since I've been a kid, I've always preferred teaching myself whatever programs or skills I needed for a particular idea, rather than having to rely on others or pay them, which obviously is impossible as a preteen. So in high school, I taught myself music production, starting with Fruity Loops and Logic Pro, making incredibly simple beats and helping write songs for my friend's punk band. Fast forward a couple years and I moved to Boulder to study CU, and I was originally planning on joining the Marines as an officer. Seriously, that obviously didn't happen, and that can be directly attributed to my first experience performing as a DJ in front of a crowd. Let me tell you, it was intoxicating.
You say you got bitches, why they fucking in my place? Who's on the nuts and both ways? Monkey J Outcast. Sitting down, phone, setting tones, 40 faces getting old. Wet in my nose, it's in my throat, all the flows kind of go. Here's solution in my cup, I'm drinking slow. That's the way life goes, I'm a real life ghost. No illusions, always living, never time, always go. That's the way life goes, I'm a real life ghost. Always changing, always leaving, I'm a spirit, I'm a ghost. That's the way life goes, I'm a real life ghost.
The feeling of playing music and seeing direct feedback from the crowd led me to train hours every day perfecting my playlists and my transitions. One thing led to another, and when I was ready to come back to CU, started to get booked for shows as the feeling of people singing along your original music, dancing, and exploring worlds you created is something that is hard to describe, and frankly, it's hard to beat. And it was here where I also started my quest to being the first to do a lot of things. And this is where I started to sing original music and with live guitar. So fast forward to the second show, take it a step further. I perform every beat, every synth, every effect live, and I sing. It's here also where I started to remix songs and do covers them at the same time, all live, all through Ableton. Eventually I started to focus on singing and rapping, so I took a break from that and made 7 albums, 300 songs, and it burnt me out. After many failed deals and horrible contracts, I took a hiatus. So how in the world does this relate to the project? Well, this journey as a musician inspired the idea of the product, the Apple Studio. When I play my songs live, I had to use an incredibly complicated setup that was prone to crashing, used a bunch of cables, and it cost a fortune. So, with the Apple Studio, I want to invent a tool that musicians can both perform and produce music on. A tool that is simple, intuitive, powerful, and more importantly, expandable. So this then turned into a huge research project as I try to figure out what made Apple products, advertisements, and their user interfaces feel so perfect and elegant compared to everything else. So this led me down rabbit holes of John Ivey and Steve Jobs' design philosophies, and I realized that it boiled down to 3 things: simplicity, elegance, and care. I then set out and sketched some ideas, made hi-fi fidelity sketches and prototypes in Figma, and then set off to what will become the most rewarding, challenging, and time-intensive projects I've ever had the pleasure of doing. Learning how to model, texture, shade, and animate in the span of 3 weeks. Modeled the studio in about a week or so, and then I spent the next 100 or so hours learning how to animate the objects and the cameras. Forgot to mention though, I need music for this, so naturally I whipped up a quick 45-second drop in Ableton. I spent some time in After Effects and Premiere Pro compositing, adding titles, and adding some recordings of the animation process at the end. I hope you enjoyed this project and maybe even found my story a little interesting. There's a whole bunch more detail and pictures in the process of the exhibition, an augmented reality model, the ad itself, and a spot to listen to some of my unreleased music.